Welcome to The Issue here on YourTV. I'm Mark Carr. COVID has affected all of us in many different ways, from schooling to personal interactions to the way we go about everyday business. So today we're going to discuss how COVID-19 is affecting small business in Halton. My co-host is Angelo Bentivegna, who operates a business and is City and Regional Councillor for Ward 6. Are you and the family healthy, Angelo?
We are very healthy, Mark. Thank you very much. I assume you are. I trust your family's all good. And
everybody is, thank goodness.
Yeah, and we're looking forward to tonight's show. It's going to be great. We got two great guests tonight. Both are local, longtime Burlington residents. So should we get going here?
Okay, well, Angelo, you and your wife, Diane, own a business, so you must be aware of the hurdles facing the business community during these difficult times. And I'll turn it over to you to introduce our guests tonight.
Yeah, thank you for that, Mark. Yeah, we've been very fortunate from a business standpoint, but we'll get on with our guests here. Thank you for mentioning that. So we have John Doma. He is the managing partner with a well-known firm here in Burlington called Bateman, MacKay Chartered Accountants and Business Advisors. They have won actually many awards that people are not aware of, and I'm just going to mention a couple just because. They are the Best of the Best in Canada Industry Award, which is a pretty remarkable feat here. And they also are the best place to work in Ontario. So we're very fortunate to have John with us. Welcome, John.
Thank you, Angelo. Thank you.
And we also have Jivan Sanghera, which I must say, I'm going to go public here. Jivan ran against me for Councillor Regionals.
I think run is a very strong word.
In 2014, and to boot, he was my neighbor about 8 or 9 doors down the street. So I just wanted to mention that to be up front here. So
and you don't hold the fact that he siphoned votes away from you. So
not at all. We're actually quite good friends now. So Jivan owns and works with a company called Circle Mortgage Circle Mortgage Group. He's a mortgage broker who has worked in both the commercial and the residential sector. Welcome, Jivan. I also want to mention that he has won some awards in the industry before I move on here. He has been involved and been featured in the Yahoo Finance sector on the websites, on the internet, sorry. And he was featured in the CBC News World, which is a pretty upscale situation for him. It was good media, I'm sure, for you. So welcome, Jivan, and thank you for being here tonight.
Oh, thank you, Angelo. And yeah, for the record, Mark, I don't know how many votes I siphoned from this guy. He was he was.
That's okay. We won't count.
Okay, well that's good. So Angelo, I'm sure you've got a number of questions to direct to our guests. So I'll let you start off.
Okay, so we'll start with John just because. So John, I'd like to focus the question like, what should businesses be doing right now? There's a lot of uncertainty out there with this pandemic. We know what business has gone through previously. What should we be doing from your expertise and your portfolios and so on that'll help increase the numbers and the impact of the economy?
And it's something that what I'm going to share with you on is what we do here at Bateman MacKay as well. The biggest thing that we try and have our clients do is always, suggest that they work on their business. And you've probably heard that, but we all as business owners get too, focused on working in it, doing what we do day in and day out, and we don't pull ourselves away from the business. So it's really important that business owners, especially with the pandemic that's set on us right now, the way we do business has changed. And again, I can't say that they hear that every day. And the only way you're going to keep your business afloat is if you sit back and ponder as to where you've been and where you're going to go. And to do this, I always tell clients, book it in your calendar. Because if you don't book it in your calendar, you don't make time for it, you keep spiraling down the road of doing the same old every day. And you wake up 5 years from now and saying, okay, what have I accomplished? So that's an important item there. The second thing we look at is, once you're working on your business, is look to innovate. And when you look to innovate, you've got to take advantage of, the things that you're doing. And for example, restaurants who prepare food for, their clients, now they're looking at takeout, something they didn't do before. And they look at, okay, we make food, we produce food, let's see how we can innovate and continue to do so in a different manner. I mean, your doctors, you used to see doctors face to face. Now they're starting to do telephone calls and where they can. And you have those phone calls, with what you're doing. So, you've got to look to innovate. And what you learn from and where you get this from is, clearly you can look at your direct competitors, what they're doing, and also look at what your indirect competitors are doing. So other services, how people are conducting themselves, for example, using apps for their business, you might want to look at developing that. And when I don't mean to say you hire people to do that. Don't try and do that all on your own. There's good people out there that can do that kind of work. It costs a little bit of money, but it's an investment in your future and the business's future. The other thing that with business owners, and like myself as well as a managing partner, is it's pretty lonely, and we all suffer from that loneliness in terms of what do we do and how do we move forward. And I really encourage our clients to join their associations, join a business group, learn from them. They all have wonderful information that you can use, glean over, and improve your business. And even with business groups, you might even get referrals from people within your group. So again, reach out, take that time in your calendar, find out what's out there, check with your advisors, your close business associates. They'll love to have you join their group and share your experiences with them. So those are three things that I say from a non-financial perspective that I encourage business owners to do.
Thank you for that, John. And while you're a good segue for Jivan here would be, again, small business. They're working every day. Many of them have small staffs. They go home. They have other concerns. Times are tough. Their customers are no longer in the location that they normally would be. So they have concerns about where their next paycheck's coming from in most cases. So how do you come in? Where do you come in? Where does your organization come in to help businesses, whether it be through loans or CERB payments or any of those government functions? Can we talk about that a bit?
Absolutely. So Angelo, first off, thank you for the invitation. It's a lot of fun to be in this room with you today. As a matter of particular programs that have been designed for small business owners, our government did step up quite quickly to bring out the CERB program, and now has the small business loan program where small businesses have been able to borrow up to $40,000, and that was administered through their business banks. So while Circle Mortgage does not provide business banking on a day-to-day basis, what we do offer is solutions to people that are facing cash crunches, whether that's through our leasing division and they're kind of rejigging the way that they have their equipment structured. And that's something that a lot of small business owners should definitely be looking at right now, that if you have existing financing on equipment in your building or in your business, it's a very good time to look at refinancing those. We're actually helping a company out of Hamilton right now restructure more than 30 of their truck loans, so that they can be into a more cost-effective situation, and their savings are going to be in the tens of thousands. So that's one way to look at things. With our government stepping up as well, there is the program as well where they have the government is assisting companies with their payroll up to certain thresholds as well. So those programs in and of themselves are designed to try and improve cash flow situations for businesses. We know that Canada is built on the back of small business. We have a very large percentage of people that are self-employed here, and gainfully employed because of it. You know, Angelo, I know you've run your business for a long time, and even as an independent mortgage person myself, I've been at this for more than 15 years. So I see the ebbs and flows of the way, you know, things go for our customers, and for small business people, especially those of them in the direct to customer service industries, they were affected substantially. So the current programs in effect through the government are definitely something that they should be leaning on. The other thing is that many of them took you know, deferral programs from their lenders, whether it was for credit or mortgages, and that hopefully helped people with their cash flow crunch. You know, some of those programs are still available. If you did not take advantage of deferrals previously, you can still contact your bank and speak to them about deferring your mortgage payments or other debt payments that you have. The key really is the entire government, small business, our chambers of commerce, nobody wants to see small business fail. And there is going to be a level of failure associated with the circumstances in our situation. You know, I was on Facebook over the weekend, and I was reading an account of a Burlington dad that runs a playground here in town, and it looks like they're going to have a hard time staying open after October. They've done everything they can to keep it floating, but unfortunately, you know, businesses need revenue, and when you have restrictions and you may not have a landlord that's able to assist you in the rental abatements as well, it could have an effect on your bottom line, and unfortunately sometimes it's a very negative effect. I know in my personal situation as well, when I'd approached our landlord for a rent abatement, it was not possible. So it's something that, you know, was possible for many, but if the landlord themselves was not participating in an abatement program and not receiving support on their own, then, you know, as small business people, we were still responsible for that rent on a monthly basis. And for those of us that had enough cash flow reserves, we're able to stay afloat. But unfortunately for many, it was just not there. So I hope they're taking advantage of the government programs.
John, when you're talking to your clients in this kind of environment with COVID-19, not knowing what's going to happen next week, how are you dealing with, or how are your clients dealing with the amount and complexity of paperwork involved in accessing some of the funds that we were just talking about?
Good question, Mark. I think as business owners, and it's what I spoke about before, you've got a trusted advisors, and you know, the accountants that you work with, the business on your businesses, use their services. These are very complex calculations. You know, they're there to help people, but you know, you're running a business. You've got so much on your plate. I encourage business owners. I mean, generally what I try to do is during the pandemic period, I reached out to clients that I knew would be eligible for the programs that are out there. And, you know, if anything, like, don't try and do it all yourself, because, you know, get the accountants that you have there involved, and have them, you know, go through the calculations, provide them the information, and, you know, get those filings in, because cash is king. And the sooner you get it, the better it is. So we know the loan programs, they're in the bank accounts, you know, fairly quickly. The wage subsidy programs, you know, within a week or two, they're, you know, within your bank accounts, or you've got checks coming from them. So, you know, it is there. You know, the government has provided, you know, assistance for those that qualify.
Jivan, a lot of businesses need a source of capital, and that's vital to all businesses. Under COVID-19, how is a small business person supposed to access these funds when it's so complex. And I understand that the federal government has brought these in quickly and maybe doesn't have all the answers, which is understandable. But how are small businesses able to access these funds when things are changing almost on a daily basis?
Absolutely. So, as John was mentioning, right? So, while a small business person may be trying to do this on their own for the first time ever, having a company like John's or having your commercial banking representative assisting you in this process is paramount to your ability to succeed within it, because the nuances of the program, the calculations, the way that the ratios need to be presented to be successful in your application is an art. It is very much an art as much as it is a science. So, when you have people that you're depending on annually, I don't imagine most small business people are doing their own taxes. So if you have an accountant, those are the people that you need to reach out to immediately to say, hey, you always want to try and deal with a situation before it goes from bad to worse, right? So if you're in a scenario where you're just starting to feel a cash flow crunch, you could have the support ready for you quite quickly. But if you wait till it's too long and things have gone from bad to worse or from worse to dire, then you might be in a situation where on the banking side of things, you're not in a scenario where a bank will be comfortable lending you any more money. So, the key is really, as a business owner in everything that we do, we need to be ahead of what's coming next. So as a matter of being able to take advantage of these programs right away, I would suggest don't wait till tomorrow if you feel like this is something that is necessary. After you're done watching this show, send an email to your representative, send an email to these service providers that you are paying for their advice and assistance, and have them assist you in getting to as close as you can to the front of the line in getting the support that your business needs. Because it's very likely that other businesses are very dependent on your business. We're that huge ecosystem of small businesses that work in conjunction and in need. So I really hope that they would immediately turn to individuals. And when we've gotten the inquiries, quite simply, we've pushed them to companies like John's and to commercial banking representatives so they can get those loans and stuff in order.
Great segue to my next question for John here. So after that discussion that we just had, that you have many, many, many clients out there in all sectors, from the hospitality business, the real estate. What are the conversations that they're having with you? What are they reaching out for you in terms of their help and advice? And then what do you say to them? What can you say to them to get them to feel that they are accomplishing something, whether it be just staying positive with them and holding their hand in certain areas? Talk about that. What are they asking for, and what kind of advice are you giving them to feel that they are succeeding for this next wave or the next level of business?
Yeah, and good question. I mean, first of all, we've got many clients that are doing extremely well right now. With the pandemic, but there are the people, and you've identified, in particular the personal care business, the hospitality and restaurant side, and one of the top conversations that we have is certainly the government programs that are available out there to get immediate access with them. And we've got a great team here, and if you follow the blogs and that we put out there, we've tried to keep ahead of the game for our clients, and it's cash. Cash is king. They've got to get money, and they go to people like Jivan at his side and try and get that working capital. And it's tricky. There's a lot of work that needs to be done to have access to these funds. The government just doesn't, give the money away, or the banks give money away. So those are ones. Now, in terms of running a business, just like myself, I run a business. I've got 40 people here that provide for, and we will have discussions on all kinds of things, revenue generation, how to keep employee morale going, how to have a safe environment we share everything that we do with our team and how we conduct ourselves with our clients. They've got access to that, and they find that to be helpful. And we also encourage them to get the professionals out there. So it's survival right now, and for some of the businesses, and it is talking and trying to stay positive, encourage them to continue, because many of them have been in business for 10, 15, 20 years, and this has been very, very difficult and very unusual.
Great, thank you for that, John. Jivan, just I want to follow up on your previous comments with people who are deferring their payment of some sort. Now, from a business standpoint, you mentioned that potentially some landlords are just not as flexible to do that, but there are landlords who actually went through the program, or in some cases even forgave a month or two rent. But the ones
but that's the exception to the rule, Angelo, isn't it?
I agree. Absolutely. Absolutely. So my question even is, for those people that deferred, whether it be the rents for a month or got involved with other arrangements, eventually you got to come back and pay it. And we heard in the news, I'm saying about a week or two ago, there's $2 billion out there of deferred payments. Like, eventually that has to be reduced, just like the rest of the world. You got to get caught up. What is your take, and how can you help them, maybe direct them? What's your take on that?
Sure. So the deferral, when I'm looking at clients' credit profiles, the way that the deferral is actually scored is that the credit profile is marked with a natural disaster. So, as a matter of it affecting their actual credit score, it's not going to affect our customers' credit scores. But when you've shown that you're within deferral and you're applying for new financing, I often say that lending doesn't come with common sense unless it's in the favor of the institution. So this is one of those scenarios where when you're approaching an institution and you're saying, hey, I've been in deferral for 3 months and I would like you to lend me another $50,000, there's a good chance that they're going to look at you and say that that now is not the time. And when you say, well, why? They're going to say, well, you haven't been able to show your ability to pay your debts based on your current cash flow. So how can we justify lending you more? And in that context, that's where they play common sense against you. When you come to them and say, hey, my company grossed $600,000 in revenue last year, and I know that I only paid myself 80 grand, but I need this $1 million mortgage. At that point, they tell you there's no logic in what you're saying, because you avoided the taxes associated with the income required to qualify for a loan of that size. So, as a matter of solutions, of course, there's solutions. And a good amount of Canadians have a large amount of equity in the real estate that they own. And as a mortgage broker, I have the ability to help people, bridge this gap by allowing them to access their equity at market rates, and rates are definitely risk-based, but at market rates, so they can make the decision on whether they want to pour more of their own cash into these situations. And in some scenarios, it makes all the sense in the world. But then in others, it's probably better that they pull the chute now before they continue to incur further debt. And that sort of decisioning should never be done on your own. That's not something you do at your kitchen table or your dining room table. That's something when you sat with somebody like John and you've sat with professionals and understand what the future should hold for your company. At that point, make those decisions. But how are banks treating these deferral scenarios? Well, people are allowed to have used them, and they've used them in many contexts. As you said, one day the rooster does come home, and these debts will need to be paid. The way it's been done right now is that the interest has simply been capitalized till the end of the mortgage or to the end of the loan. So if you owed $1,000 and then $200 in interest, you now owe $1,200, and your interest will be calculated on that $1,200. So unfortunately, there's no magic pill. And there's no magic solution. It's a matter of working within the parameters of the programs we have in front of us, and doing our best to get the clients the best deal in those situations.
In the last couple of minutes, I'd like to pose a question to both John and Jivan. It's great to talk about the successful businesses, but let's look into that crystal ball and what are your expectations for businesses generally in this COVID-19 economy? Are they going to survive? Aren't they going to survive? And we just got 2 minutes left, so and that's to John first.
So definitely the companies that don't take the time to sit and look over their business and innovate, they will survive, and the ones that don't do that, Mark, will be in trouble. Okay, so people are still going to be looking for services and products. You've got to get out there and innovate.
Okay.
David?
I think those that, companies that are cash flow positive and have kept reserves are likely going to be okay through this. But realistically, when I was having conversations about this in March and April, my statement was very clear that if the lights are still on December 31st, 2020, and we have the ability to open on January 2nd, then it was an okay year. To see what people have gone through personally and business-wise, and sacrifices that companies and individuals within those companies have made to work as a team and move forward is something that's going to very much predict whether those people will still be around next year or not. But really, I think that if you make it till December 31st, pop a bottle, smile and pray to God that 2021 is nothing like 2020.
I do want to thank both our guests from Bateman MacKay and Circle Mortgage Group and Angelo Bentivegna, Sitting Regional Councillor for Ward 6, for being with us today. Hopefully it has given small business and medium-sized business an opportunity to think about what they're doing and react to it. I'm Mark Carr, and you can join us every Tuesday at 8 p.m. here on The Issue on YourTV. Truly local television. Stay safe, everyone.